Jai Bhim. Jai Bhim has become my new ID card. I don't need any bus ticket, train ticket, plane ticket. If I want to go to a place like the Alauddin lamp, I'll have to say Jai Bhim, then I am in that city. Ever since this film was screened in OTT on 2nd November, I've been visiting every city in India, and everywhere there is enthusiasm, and I'm happy that one film could unite all of us with the slogan Jai Bhim. That's a victory of the film. And today's topic is Constitution and Civil Right and Social Justice. To learn Constitution, we did not go to the college. We learned our Constitution in the streets of Tamil Nadu. The Constitution, which is one of the finest documents under which this country is run, adopted on 26 November 1949, brought into force on 26 January 1950, which we celebrate as a Republic Day, still holds this country together, and therefore we should be proud. When we see our neighbors, they also have their own constitution. In fact, Bangladesh, which 50 years we are now celebrating, legal pundits to help them. The result was many of the provisions from Indian Constitution are incorporated in the Bangladesh Constitution also. Perhaps there are two constitutions in the world. One is Indian Constitution and the Bangladesh Constitution are the two constitutions, to the exception of all the countries where social philosophy is written into the Constitution. If you see any other constitution in the world, it will be bereft of any policy statement. It will be bereft of any proposed action to be taken by the state. It will only contain clauses under which the country is run, the legislature, the parliament, the lawmaking power. But the only exception of our constitution is it starts with a social philosophy and ends with the social philosophy and continues to echo the philosophy and the social equity that this country should take. And it is only because of the drafting committee chairman, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, who not only helped in drafting this constitution, but also answered debates in the assembly, Constituent Assembly, for 2.5 years. A brilliant answers, you must read, it has come out as 5-volume book. Every answer, every question raised by the members of the Constituent Assembly were brilliantly answered by him. And finally it was adopted. Having drafted a constitution for such a big country like ours with diverse interests, at that time India was not one India. There was a British India, there were princely states, there were union mandated states, there were border areas ruled by the military. All these were brought together and a single constitution has been made. And then Dr. Ambedkar was not happy. The constitution was adopted. The full draft was before him. On 26 November 1949, Dr. Ambedkar said to the members of the assembly that here, with our labor, with our pains, we have drafted a constitution and given to yourself. You will see our constitution peculiarly begins by saying, we the people of India give ourselves this constitution. That is, constitution was not given by somebody else. We the people of India got ourselves, written this constitution for ourselves. He said, with great difficulty, we have adopted this resolution and given you this book. But I am not happy that this is going to satisfy. We have only a political freedom that lie low forever. If we do not get social and economic freedom, India will rise above for a revolution. This is the words of Dr. Ambedkar. And after 71 years, we still have the constitution, amended 102 times. And then we still continue to hold the constitution. But the economic freedom and the social freedom are still elusive. We are still struggling to achieve certain amount of social equality. Now in constitution, Many of you are not students of Constitution, but nothing prevents you from reading the Constitution, understanding the Constitution, going through the debates which they had for 2.5 years, all kinds of doubts that have been raised. Now, this Constitution, if you start with the first page of the Constitution, it talks about fraternity, liberty, equality. Now, any history student or any student of politics or even student of law, when we were students of law, our teachers have told that these three words, that equality, fraternity and liberty, these three words are a reflection of the French Revolution of the 18th century, and Ambedkar was swayed by the thoughts of French Revolution. But then you will be disappointed to know these three concepts were not borrowed from any Western philosophy, from any Western world. Dr. Ambedkar, when he was a minister in the Central Cabinet, had an occasion to speak in the All India Radio about the preamble which he adopted in the Constitution. In 1954, speaking in the All India Radio, he said that many people think that the three words which I coined for the preamble, equality, fraternity and liberty, were taken from the French Revolution. I am sorry, I will disappoint you. These are the words which were taken from my master, Lord Buddha. It is a reflection of the Sangha created by Lord Buddha, and this philosophy of equality, fraternity and liberty resounds the philosophical thoughts of India not 100 years before or 1000 years before. 4000 years old, this doctrine has been there and I have adopted it. I am proud to say that. Many times our teachers do not tell us in our classrooms. We will have to learn directly from Ambedkar. And in that way, while you look into the Constitution, you will have to also read Ambedkar. You will have to read his speeches and writings to know more about him. In fact, when I was a judge, shortly for less than 7 years, I had a number of cases relating to caste and religion. Whenever those cases were listed before me, not only I looked into the constitutional provision and various case laws, I also read Ambedkar's selected works, which is fortunately published by the Maharashtra government and sold at a very subsidized rate. Anybody can buy that book. And these books, which gave a new orientation to understand the caste and religion in India. When I delivered a judgment on a subject relating to conversion, on a subject relating to reservation, on a subject relating to land rights of the scheduled caste, on a subject relating to burial ground, subject relating to employment potential, subject relating to the intercaste marriage, I only looked into Ambedkar. What is this caste? What is the religion? And why we have so many differences in this country, despite calling us ourselves as a socialist secular republic. That is the preamble or words of the Constitution. But then why is that we have so much division? And now, those cases, I also quoted Ambedkar. And finally, after my retirement, I published a book containing these judgments. I also wanted to name that book. I was wondering what topic should be given. I said the title of the book should be My Judgments in the Light of Ambedkar. That's a book which is only right now available in Tamil. Shortly it will have in English, and I'll send you copies and you should discuss the issues raised in that book. Because as a judge, you may read law, you may read Constitution, but still you can't solve the social problems of this country without understanding the Ambedkar. Therefore, when this film was taken, we were searching for a title. The film was made into 5 languages, and then the title should also have a All India appeal. The title should also immediately relate to the common people of this country. And then we thought Jai Bhim should be a correct title. And today, that decision to name this film as Jai Bhim proved to be a correct decision, because it is not the scheduled caste people, it is not the Adivasi people, it is the entire people of this country who have seen the film are now saying Jai Bhim. Wherever I go, people call me Jai Bhim. I am proud that These two words, which are not mere slogans, which is now found in the lips of thousands and thousands of Indians, has now showed a new path for the liberation of the common people of this country. The constitution which we are going to talk about today, in 1968, when I was a student of pre-university, I am not much aware of politics. I was slowly initiated into politics, but not the social philosophy of this politics. 44 scheduled caste people were burned to death in my district. What is the crime committed by them? They demanded 25 paise more, 1/4 of a rupee, which is not even worth today, not even worth buying a small curry leaf in a shop. This 25 paise demand was not liked by the landowners. The landowners formed their own association, and the scheduled caste people had their own association, Agriculture Labour Union, Karshaka Toilali Sangam, they say in Malayalam, or Rayattu Toilali Sangam in Telugu, Vyavasaya Toilala Sangam in Tamil, whatever name you call, the labourers were labourers and demanding 25 paise more for daily wages. And the landowners formed a powerful association, and they didn't want to call it as a landlord association. They call it as a paddy producers association. Everybody wants to have a new name. Like we have Jai Bhim. They also said paddy producer association. They are not even putting their leg into any field. They are not even bending themselves to cut any crop, but they call themselves paddy producers. The absentee landlords of my district formed an association, wanted to teach a lesson to the labourers. They said, if you allow this 25 paise, they will dominate us. Therefore, we should teach them a lesson. How to teach them a lesson? Finish them off. They pour kerosene in their huts and burned in the midnight. And the kerosene and the haystack and the matchbox were brought in the car of a landlord, local landlord. This was a shock, because how could, just because demanding more money, they could be burned? Who gave them that power? What is the authority under which the burning was take place? And very shockingly, very disappointingly, the papers in Tamil Nadu did not carry this news in a big way. Because never in the history. Later, subsequent to Kelvanmani, there were hundreds of incidents in India. Karamcheru, there is a Belchi in Bihar. So many incidents took place where human beings were burnt alive. But this incident was reported in New York Times, not in the Hindu, not in some Indian Express, but New York Times. Because people from outside could see that India calls itself as a democratic country, but people can be burned for demanding higher wages. You must have read the story of Oliver Twist, who lives in a home run for the poor boys. He was hungry, he asked for more, and then he was beaten up for asking for more food. So the word asking for more became a very important phrase in Indian literature, and all the people ask for more. Not even more means not several thousand rupees, 25 paise. If 25 paise demand could kill 44 people, including women, old people, children, what is the crime that they have committed? This at the age of 17, when you come to know, you are shocked. You are now shocked by seeing the film. We were shocked by the real life incident. We were wondering why such a social disparity take place in this country. Why is that in a country of several crores of people, some people are kept away, some people are kept outside the civilization, some people are kept outside the city, outside the town. Now it is in that sense, this incident which made me to turn and to look into the society and look for some social alternatives, which made me a leftist, and I became a member of a student federation. At that time, SFI was not there. At that time, there was only a state level federation like Andhra Pradesh Student Federation, Tamil Nadu Student Federation, Kerala. In 1969, we formed a coordination committee. In 1970, we met in Thiruvananthapuram and formed the first SFI, and that became, SFI became the first student organization. controlling hundreds of students all over India. And I became the state secretary of the Tamil Nadu student SFI. And once you are in SFI and exposed to the social misdeeds, social disparities, your life was not merely learning lessons in campus, your life is also linked outside the campuses. A great debate went on in those days. In the early 70s, the world over, the students were on a rampage, the students were on unrest, students were fighting. For what reason? From America to England to Paris, every country you name, the students were on the streets. What is the reason? Why did the Paris students capture many government buildings? Why did the American students capture all universities? They were ruling the universities for several months, saying that we will control the campuses. Because America was doing what cannot be permitted. After the World War, the United Nations was formed to have a separate and equal representation for all countries. The first agreement was not to transgress others' sovereignty, but America was to transgress everybody's time. America became the world policeman. America said, whatever I will do, nobody can question me. American Marines, we still continue to hold the Constitution, but the economic freedom and the social freedom are still elusive. We are still struggling to achieve certain amount of social equality. Now in Constitution, many of you are not students of Constitution, but nothing prevents you from reading the Constitution, understanding the Constitution, going through the debates